Sword of Mercury. So today, we got a bit of an interesting video here, and just a quick disclaimer, if you're prone to getting upset by controversial topics, especially that regarding current concepts around masculinity or whatever, I suggest you click off this video now, because we are going to be talking about some stuff going on here in the 21st century that is affecting young men, or maybe we could say just all men or guys, and talking about specifically how the gym is kind of the last safe space for men to feel like they have a place where they belong. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in the 21st century, as we know, society has changed quite a bit from the older traditional ways where we used to look at society, where we would have more of our gender norms and gender roles and whatnot. And though that was a somewhat limited kind of construct, I feel like a large portion of us had an appreciation for the type of structure that brought to a household and the environment in general, such as guys being able to, when you think of a guy, oh yeah, that was somebody you'd pick to go and lift something heavy, right? Or go and fight in battle, or I don't know, build stuff on their free time, or want to innovate or create, right? This is stuff that throughout history we kind of more so associate with guys, and in the 21st century it's become a bit more fluid in the sense where girls and women have taken on doing some of that stuff as well. But in kind of this more fluid-like nature of society, we come against some barriers to development as a society, which is by having those aspects now being discovered and being implemented by women, we also now have a deficit of a fundamental aspect of the structure that we used to have, such as key roles that women used to play, such as taking care of a household, making sure that emotionally the home is supported and is a environment that facilitates growth in all its aspects and is nurtured and loved and supported. And we've seen this through like traditional roles that they would have, such as cooking or cleaning, taking care of the home. And this wasn't so much, at least in my view, I would say that so much as something that we as guys look at as oppressive, but it was almost seen as a spiritual duty almost in a lot of our views now, because that is a key element to ensuring that a family structure is upheld and maintained and is built on a foundation that is able to be nurtured. It's almost like if you think about a garden, think about the gardener who comes and waters the plants and take care of the plants and ensure that the plants are developing and being nurtured and having all the things they need to be supported and grow as plants, nurturing the seed energy, right? So this has kind of been some of the roles more commonly associated with women in the past, right? And nowadays, where women have taken on some of the more masculine traits, such as going out, working, trying to be a woman of industry, or want to be like CEOs or whatever. Nothing wrong with that, right? However, in the sense of this dynamic where you have this structure that facilitates itself, where one person has their duty assigned to them. Traditional male going out working, fighting in conflict, doing things to protect the home on a physical level, where if there's any confrontation, that's where we have to step up and take on that role. Being able to facilitate a environment that feels protected on a physical level, as well as having all the physical material things it needs to ensure a stable foundation, like money. That was been a big thing in the past for facilitating the household that fell on the duty of guys. So in essence, those were more characteristics that were associated with guys, and while women provided the more nurturing, supportive aspect to the home and created that emotionally loving environment so that men could recharge and continue to grow and develop as individuals, as well as the children, and as well as the environment as a whole, as well as creating and designing a safe and supportive environment for the whole family to feel that it was protected and loved on a spiritual level. Now we're talking here from, instead of men protecting on a physical level, we're talking about women protecting on a spiritual level. So bringing that emotionally loving and nurturing vibe to the environment. And with this, we had this dynamic that ran in a manner which it wasn't perfect all the time. We're not going to say it was or pretend that everything was, fine without any flaws. But there was a sense of organization and flow and rhythm and structure to the environment now, where women want to, like in society, I would say, it's almost this balancing effect that has gone way to the other side now, where instead of empowering women through embracing their natural attributes, we're embracing them through giving them or associating them with all the masculine roles, such as going out working, getting a job, making money, even going to the gym and all those things, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the role that in the household dynamic that a woman wants to take on. That's fine, but there's got to be a balancing effect too, right? So this is kind of the piece that was present back in the day that is now missing from society, and where you have both the roles essentially taking on this masculine role, and then there's no feminine energy to the environment. There's no supportive, loving figure whose role it is to uphold the household mainly and protect and spiritually nurture the environment and the people in it. So, because if the man's going out and working and the woman is also going out and working, then there's no one doing that role of facilitating that growth process, right? You can almost think of it as like when you go to train or whatever, like, yeah, you can go and, work out and, expend your energy and build muscle, but you have to come home and relax and let your muscles grow and eat food to nurture and support that, so it can be able to be maintained and facilitate that process of you being able to do that day after day. Because if you don't fuel the body with what it needs, then one, you only have one aspect of that equation, and two, you're depriving it of all the foundational nutrients and minerals and that supporting, loving nature that we give to the plant in order for it to grow, right? Water, sunlight, whatever. Even singing to plants has been shown to help them grow scientifically. So, the point is that without that, some might call it family unit, I would call it more of a family circuit or family dynamic in which we each have our roles, regardless of whether it's the man performing the role of staying at home or the woman. It doesn't matter. The point is that there's somebody upholding the energy of the space and ensuring that it's a loving, nurturing space to facilitate growth for everybody who lives in it. And without that, you have this missing piece of the puzzle, which can come back to be a detriment at some point, right? So, ensuring that this aspect or this necessity is met, regardless of who performs it, is imperative. And that's why now sometimes we see a lot of guys wanting to adopt a more feminine role in a relationship, which is, again, no problem with that. And we could see a lot of guys now taking on aspects where they're more emotionally sensitive or emotionally intelligent, or pursuing fields such as psychology or philosophy, where we get that deep thinker aspect. And yeah, sure, guys have, tended to be more philosophical in the past, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, whatever. But we also see a lot of women going into fields like sociology and stuff. So emotional intelligence has always been a key aspect to feminine nature, as far as science and society views it. But now we see guys also adopting those properties, especially in, like, if say you have a boyfriend who's into anime, or let's just take anime guys for example. A lot of them are like romantics nowadays, where we see a woman flattering a guy in a situation that's reversed from how it usually is, where it's the guy making the woman feel flustered and pursuing her. But now it's the other way around, where the woman's a protector and making the guy feel supported and protected and essentially like shielded from the environment on this physical level, right? Which is why we see all these trends on the internet, like mommy dom and whatnot. But essentially, this is coming from this lack of that aspect within the unit, within the family unit, within the societal unit. Because if you take away one aspect, that energy has to go somewhere else. So we see guys becoming more receptive to this feminine, almost impulsive energy, where they're becoming more receptive to this emotional energy and realizing the importance of it, but also maintaining that aspect of wanting to go and train, become strong, become capable individuals who essentially are strong enough to weather whatever is they're encountering in life, right? So we're not getting to the board yet. I know this is a lot of talking. But bear with me, because this is all really important to understanding just the masculine condition nowadays. So, well, we still want to do all those things, go to the gym, fight, train, whatnot. We also now have to take on some of the aspects of feminine nature, which is being receptive to these things, such as, like, almost romance that is very flattering, or wanting a woman to almost sweep a guy off his feet, because the dynamic is not receptive to the original way that it was. So the dynamic has been reversed. So, like, guys don't mind a woman sweeping them off their feet and flattering them and chasing after them, or asking them out, or asking them for their number, or wanting to protect them in some way. So even though guys are still upholding a lot of their aspects of going to the gym, doing these things, it's almost become more of a, I wouldn't say shallow aspect, but I would say surface level, as in, yeah, you still want to maintain the aspect of, doing what guys do, battle, development in some way, getting stronger, um, being philosophical, exercising your mind, but now also connecting with that more feminine, receptive side to your nature, such as understanding what true love and true feelings with somebody actually means, right? But since a lot of the aspects of society are not so receptive to that anymore, because love has kind of been something that is, I wouldn't say outdated, but it has been more, it's almost been like perverted in a sense, where like now it's almost something rare to find, right? Like, if you can find that with somebody, true love with somebody, that's like 1 in a million now, right? Compared to how it was before, back in the day, when it was almost you would find somebody and you would build a whole relationship with that person before you even got in a relationship. You would build this whole back and forth, this tension, this genuine connection with somebody, built on honor and upholding values and ethics and these things, right? Principles. What do they call the Church of Thyatira in the Bible, in the Church of Revelation? They call it the Church of Principalities. So that was a structure back in the day which was more so enforced. And now that everything is quick, everything is on social media, people running up their dopamine, burning out their dopamine receptors where they want everything quick and now and fast. Love does not really have time to form in that same sense that it did before, where it was an instant gratification. You can't just talk to whoever you want. You actually have to put in work to develop a relationship with somebody. So now, where everything is instant and, pleasure or whatever is just instant and mundane, and it's perverted the concept of love, and that's why a lot of guys who are in touch with that more feminine, emotional aspect of themselves kind of see this as almost a perverted, disgusting aspect of society now, where people do not value genuine connection with each other anymore. They just want quick interactions that can result in, intercourse or some form of emotional stimulus that is short-lived without facilitating that deep connection. So I'm not saying that, guys are the only ones who want this. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that since the dynamic has been switched around, guys are a lot more receptive to this than they were before, and women now taking on some of the other aspects that are more traditionally associated with the masculine roles are less receptive to this energy than they were before. So the dynamic is switched around, and this is why, because that when in this dynamic that has now been switched around, guys wanting to have this relationship which is built on genuine love and genuine emotional nurturing and support, and they're not getting that because most of the girls are not going to go up to a guy and ask them for their number or go out of their way to start conversations with guys in person, such as the way a guy would go up to and talk to a woman, because it's not their traditional norm. Even though there is that now sense of fluidity in society, apparently that's not one of the things that have carried over. And you can see this with stuff like debates about who pays the bill at dinner and whatnot now, right? So it's the same kind of sense that there is a lack of understanding around the roles that each person is supposed to fulfill in a dynamic. And now that guys have this emotional understanding and it's not being met, it's almost like they're lacking this key piece in emotional development, which is why so many of them emotionally develop from just this instinct of wanting to do battle and realizing that strength is the only option, right? So you can see here, gym equals strength over love, and testosterone, which is the dominant masculine hormone, which is built on making work feel good, is now intrinsically linked to this concept of going to the gym and progressing in the gym, because when you're in the gym as a guy now, you are more recognized as a guy and more supported in your emotional needs from being at the gym. And even a lot of us are now getting that from other guys, not in a romantic sense, but in a sense where other guys recognize your progress and recognize your self-worth and approval and see your development. So, you have your gym bro saying, looking good, bro, and you over here with your barbell, maybe doing bench press or whatever. So self-worth as a guy is going up, approval is going up, development is going up. All of these are going up, and that leads to this locked-in mentality, which we now see is trending on so much social media. So, and it's a bunch of anime guys really like me who, see a lot of themes in anime of guys doing battle and wanting to push themselves to the greatest extent of their ability, and making that now the main focal point of their existence on this world instead of procreation, because most of us are thinking, well, if we can facilitate a relationship built on the foundation of love and emotional support and genuine characteristics that have a balance and are built on principalities and genuine love and romance, then there's no point in getting into a relationship, because if I don't just want to have sex or whatever willy-nilly, and I actually have my principalities and ethics about me and value myself as an individual and the other person who I'm being in a relationship with, to develop with that person together and have something that is genuinely special, then there's no point in getting into a relationship. So might as well just focus on ourselves and become the strongest version of ourselves that we can be by ourselves, and we don't need anybody else to be in a relationship with, or slow down that progress, right? So that's why a lot of times now, like these days, most of the time, if a guy does not find that woman who makes him feel supported and loved and approved and supported and nurtured, and valued in a sense, and enabled to pursue his goals and feel genuinely accepted in his status as a man, then he will not get into a relationship, and he will just continue as he's always been, just pushing himself to do better by himself, and he would rather walk the road alone than walk it with somebody else who's going to be a liability to him and slow down his progress, right? Because if there's no benefit out of being in a relationship with somebody else, both to him and to the other person, then why get into one at all? So that's really where we are at now, and that's why a lot of us would rather just be on our own and push ourselves to the maximum potential of our ability on our own, so we can stay locked in and stay focused and stay developing and not be distracted by anything else. And nowadays guys probably have a more intimate relationship with the pull-up bar than they do with another female. I could say that for myself, especially. I know that me and the pull-up bar have a pretty good relationship compared to most other people who I'm even surrounded by, even just guys and girls in general. We have a deeper connection with the stuff that is personally developing to us rather than other people in the outside environment, because that emotional support that we used to have facilitated by either either good mothers or um, or our relationship partners, our girlfriends, or even like a older, younger sister who would facilitate that same type of energy. It's not present anymore, so we'll just go and do things our way by ourselves. So this is really where guys are at nowadays, just wanting to do stuff themselves and feeling like they don't need anybody else. And though that is the best option on the table for them in some cases, that's not genuinely the way it should be, because there should be a balance to the dynamic. Either guys having that emotional need met by their counterpart in a relationship, or if the woman wants to take on those masculine roles of going to work, bringing in the money, then the guy is, a lot of us are more than happy to stay at home and do those roles of cleaning the house and cooking the food and, taking care of the environment, making sure it's loved and emotionally supported. We don't mind doing that. We don't mind reversing the roles a bit, but we're not gonna have this both ways, where it's like you can get your cake and eat it too, or whatever, however the saying goes, where, essentially, we're getting the short end of the stick and no benefit or no teamwork or camaraderie, where one person is putting in, like, let's say, the majority of the effort, like 75%, the other person's only putting in 25%. Why would you want that when you can just go and do the work yourself, and then just do 100% and give the 100% to yourself, right? So this is where this mentality is really coming from. So bro right now is getting more approval from his gym bros and from the other people in the gym, or the girls in his life, or actually do have that emotional nurturing instinct in his life than anywhere else, right? More than his mother nowadays, and more than his girlfriend, or the girls that are potential girlfriends, right? So, and now this kind of leads to this dynamic where we're just do it all ourselves kind of people. So locked in on this side, not so much on this side. And here, I wrote here, this is kind of an oversimplification. And again, not saying this is all women or all girls, but in the dynamics of guys not wanting to be in relationships, the way that they see it is BI**H girlfriend, creating unnecessary drama, you never listen to me, blah blah blah, complaining about something, and guys still being like they were back in the day, but now at this point in time where they're not getting anything out of it, wondering where is this coming from, right? So you have an emotionally upset individual about something, and now, we are still, scratching our heads trying to figure girls out, but now it's like that emotional, loving, kind, soft aspect to them is not present. So specifically in this video, I reserved this aspect, or this moment. I normally do not write on the whiteboard or alter my pictures during the video, but this time I'll do it because I need to highlight what is going on here. So guys would rather go, nope, not happening, and we would rather go over this side and make it the lonely path where, oops, sorry, that was loud. So missing that emotionally nurturing aspect where you would have that aspect of support, but now it's facilitated in the gym more than it is over here. The actual relationship you're supposed to be in, right? That makes you feel loved and nurtured and appreciated unappreciated and blah 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 blah, right? So a guy would rather go pump iron than involve himself in a relationship because he does not experience the genuine relationship love which he has been shown and been demonstrated, and is a fundamental aspect of development, especially for a guy. Guys are almost like seeds you plant in the ground, like say for an apple tree or some kind of fruit. They're seeds you plant in the ground, and the watering comes from those loving women and the support system which he has in his life, which helps him develop and grow and become a stronger individual and become able to be a capable individual. But without that love and emotional support and nurturing, he doesn't develop in the same way that he would with that, right? He's prone to stress, he's prone to obstacles, he's prone to feeling always angry, or feeling that rage or fury or tense desire or fire within him is the only thing he can rely upon to keep himself not just supported or driven, but also protected. So, understanding that because this is not present, this is the approval and self-worth and development that he wants and needs, is imperative for not just guys understanding their place, but also women understanding how guys are now reacting to wanting to get into relationships and why they do not want to. So, again, I'm not saying this is anybody's fault. I'm not saying that, this is a thing of guys versus girls or whatever. I'm saying that there needs to be a balance in every dynamic, and regardless of who wants to go out and make the money and who wants to stay in the home, there has to be one person taking on that role, so that the dynamic, the balance can be maintained and support everybody who's in that environment. Because without that, you get a emotionally unbalanced environment, and you get an unsupported dynamic. So I hope that this has been insightful to help you understand some of the obstacles that guys are now facing in society, and why a lot of us, the only safe space on the planet is in the gym or in the gyms, right? Or training, or connecting with nature, connecting with Mother Earth has actually been very pivotal to guys, especially in recent times. We see a lot more guys wanting to involve themselves in spirituality, such as myself, connecting with Mother Earth energy, because a lot of times that's one of the few energies where we can feel that support and love and nurturing aspect of supporting the foundation of our being. If man is earth or rock, they always compare guys to rock or stone, and women is like water. The seed, that earth that is related to stone or minerals, needs to be nurtured by water. So if we can't get it from other individuals, other women, other girls, or supporting us emotionally in our environment, then we'll have to get it from the original source, Earth, Mother Earth. So, I hope that if you're a girl or a woman and you're watching this, maybe this can help give you a little bit more insight just into how the experience for guys have been in recent times in the 21st century, just on their viewpoint around relationships, and why some of us don't want to get into relationships, or are not willing to be vulnerable with others anymore. And if you're a guy and you're watching this, I hope that maybe this video helps give you that voice, or helps you feel like your voice is being heard by other guys in society that are also experiencing the same thing, or also watching, animes of, Super Saiyans and whatnot, demonstrating the genuine aspect of masculinity and wanting to embrace that, because that is the place where they feel valued and supported and loved and accepted within the various depths of their being, or very depths of their being, maybe both. So yeah, supporting their church of principalities, supporting their heart, because guys need love and emotional support too. A lot of guys, like, a lot of girls, especially, like, I see this a lot with, like, Italian girls especially. They'll get, like, small cute dogs and stuff like that, and they'll spend all their time, like, loving and being around their, like, dog or little puppy. But, like, a lot of times, like, guys won't come out and say this, but a lot of times they want a similar love to that, of that loving, nurturing sense of just unconditional love and support within whatever endeavors they're engaging in, or just feeling that they have that support system or nurturing nature around them, because guys really, at the fundamental aspect of their beings, are simple creatures, and a lot of times we don't want or need a lot from the other person. We just want to be seen and recognized, and self-worth and approval, and have that development. That's really all that guys want. It's emotional, it's not even physical a lot of the times. And sure, like, guys like to have sex or whatever, but typically if you have a guy of principalities in question, or a guy who has honor, or some kind of code of carrying themselves, then they want these things. They want these things as a prerequisite to having sex and all those things. They don't just want random sex, because that's meaningless, right? They want these things to then facilitate that deep connection with another individual. We talked about the roles being reversed. Now, you've seen, like, in fairy tales, the princess is up in the castle that needs to be rescued by the prince. It's like the roles have been reversed, where, like, the guy is almost the princess in the castle who wants to be rescued by the prince, or maybe the guy is the prince in the castle who needs to be rescued by the princess, or the warrior princess, or whatever. So a lot of us are looking at it more like that. You want to reverse the roles, fine, but we still need that energy and the dynamic, right? And if not, we're just not going to get into relationships, and we'll just be by ourselves, and that's fine with us. Genuinely in our heart, that is fine, because we know that love and acceptance we have from ourselves, out of knowing that the right thing to do is to be by ourselves, unless we have somebody who we can genuinely feel loved and nurtured and supported and accepted by, whether that's them going out and making money and supporting us, staying at home and taking care of the household and providing that spiritual, loving and nurturing aspect or factor to the environment, or whether it's us going out and, being the one who engages in physical confrontation with people, or, facilitates the physical supports for the environment, or whatever. So this is the gist of the concept today that the Prince of Mercury has for you. And I know this is a controversial topic. Some people are probably going to stomp their feet and pout about this and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and oh, you're misogynist or whatever. I don't really care if you call me whatever you want, because the fact is that, guys have always tried to take on the role of doing what needs to be done, doing what we feel that we are responsible to do. And sure, we don't do it perfectly. We're not going to say that we have, but the only thing we want to do is provide the physical aspects that are necessary to love and support those we care about, whether that's a woman in a relationship, whether that's our progeny, our children, whoever. We just want to create a loving environment for them, which we know is going to be loved and supported and nurtured. And we can do that by bringing the physical aspect to that, of being able to physically protect that which we care about, and being able to fight for that which we want through sheer aggression if necessary. But we also need that loving, nurturing, supporting aspect in our environment in order to support that. So, I think that society has done a fantastic job of convincing women that they need to be more like men, or that they need to be something other than what they already are, because the fact is, both men and women were perfect all along. Sure, society has put some limitations on both of us, men, through societal norms and constructs which we have to uphold, not crying in front of other people, being emotionally like stone, and women being the ones who take care of the household and have to uphold that role of just doing that and not being able to express their interest or anything. So both men and women have been suppressed in various natures throughout time and history. Men have been oppressed in a less visible way. They have been suppressed more emotionally to be able to maintain that physicality aspect, and women have been suppressed more physically by being cut off from opportunities of being able to express themselves however they see fit in terms of their physical endeavors, such as wanting to be an artist and being able to put your name on work, or being able to take on certain duties which would be more commonly associated with a masculine role. But now, to both men and women listening, men do not care. Men do not care about who is going to take on which role. They just want to have a partner who is going to help them develop and feel approved and feel self-worth. So, whether that's a guy taking on the more emotionally sensitive role or the more masculine role, it doesn't really matter to us most of the time. The only thing we want is a partner who is going to be on our side and have principles and share our mindset of development and wanting to create something special and unique and loving and nurturing for everybody who is in that environment. So I think I have repeated myself enough with that concept, and I hope you like this. I know it's a bit controversial today. Thank you for bearing with me, because I feel that this was something that was needed to be talked about, and even just for myself, I as a guy, I've experienced this quite a bit in my time. I'm only 23, or I've only been around 23 years on this planet. So we'll get into the difference with that maybe another time. But in my time on this planet, I've seen how we need women. We need women who are have that emotionally sensitive aspect to them and are going to nurture us and make us feel seen and improved and enhance our development, because that helps us be better individuals and helps us support them in all the ways that we need to. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, this has been the Sword of Mercury, and I am the Prince of Mercury. And again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I encourage you to like and subscribe to the channel because it does help support me and help me support or help me facilitate making more content like this, and usually more content in the realm of spirituality and science and the things we normally talk about, but also talk about these important concepts to society, which need to be voiced sometimes, because ignoring something that is imbalanced in society is not going to fix it, right? We need to give it attention, and we need to give it love and nurturing and acceptance and understanding, so we can facilitate that growth and change that we want to see within the world, right? So I hope you have enjoyed. I hope that you like and subscribe, because again, it does help me produce more content like this and engage with you guys. I love reading your guys' comments. It really does make my day seeing that you guys appreciate the content that I put out there and enjoy it, and especially in this ASMR format. I encourage you to check out my other podcast, Moonstruck, which I'll link in the description below, which is a longer format that is not an ASMR, but if you want to see me go on about some of these topics around science and spirituality and philosophy and history and spiritual lore, or connecting things, I don't know, connecting the themes of film and history, or all these themes, religion, whatever that we see throughout history, then I encourage you to check out that channel as well and check out the content for that. Also, follow me on Instagram at top_sorcerer if you do want to keep up to date with me on social media. And yeah, I do believe that is it. So once again, I am the Prince of Mercury right here on the Sword of Mercury. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's video. Once again, remember to like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. And let me know in the comments what you would like to see in the future, as well as if you like these longer format videos or if you want to see shorter format. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.